Hi there everyone, it's Catherine from Sunnyside Journals. I have a flip through today of a journal that I recently made. I've actually been working on it for quite a few months. I've been working on it in between working on other books. It's one of those books that I just kept coming back to and adding a little bit more here and a little bit more there. This has been quite a labor of love. I've really enjoyed making it. It's actually become quite a meaningful journal to me. And, well, you'll see why in a few minutes. It's a book from 1968. And it's a nice little size. It's 7 1/4 by 4 3/4. And it's got a spine. It's got a hollow back spine, 1 inch. You'll see it's got cheesecloth, and it's got a little bit of cotton lace detailing there as well. And hold on here, let me get that out of the way. And it's got 3 signatures in it, 5 stitch, and it's got 96 pages. This book originally was just golden color yellow on the front, and it had this very determined young lady right in the center on a blank space, and the title is Trudy Takes Charge. And it got me to thinking, and that's how it evolved, because this journal has become one of those junk journals that through the ephemera, through the papers, through the laces and ribbons and technique, it has a theme, and it sort of evolves a story. And this book, Trudy Takes Charge, has become a journal about grief and about the grieving process. And it will mean whatever it means to the person who goes through it. I've borrowed a lot of metaphor for death and for moving through it. But of course, as we all know, grief can be, yes, coming to grips with the loss of a loved one. Grieving can also be the loss of a home. It can be the loss of a job. It can be the loss of an era in your lifetime. There's a lot of reasons why we grieve, in addition to losing someone we love. So I have used, in the first signature, it will feel like a person has died. But again, that's metaphor for grief in general and the dark feelings that come with grief, and when you internalize and sort of go into your dark place when you're grieving and ready to start working through some healing. So you're going to see, watch for changes in color through the book. Watch for caterpillars moving through stages to become butterflies. So let me take a seat and we will work through to Trudy Takes Charge. Oh, sorry, I'm rolling my chair closer here, and I'm trying not to bang my desk. So the cover is unusual. Like I said, it was blank, and I loved this determined young woman on the front, steely-eyed, and so I imagined that she was reassessing her life, and that she maybe was surrounded by beautiful things, but maybe that wasn't satisfying for her. Maybe society was expecting something from her that she wasn't interested in going along with. I'm not sure. I just felt like she looked different, so I added, I don't know, this could be peers, these could represent family, these could represent society. And here we go. So you can see here the inside of the first page. I almost wanted it to look like a funeral home. This was the name of one of the chapters in the book, Goodbyes. I imagined, again, it's a metaphor, losing someone you love, so I put in these little pictures. I imagined that they're her parents, and Maybe they died tragically in some Victorian shipwreck or something like that. Who knows? But so this is from a photo album, an old photo album. And here's where the starting of Watching for Caterpillars begins. I'll go in here. This is the original first page from the book. And here is the copyright. I love being able to include that when I do junk journals. You'll see why I was so excited yesterday to find that huge roll of black ribbon, because there's quite a bit of black in this first signature. This was the original chapter 6. No, that's chapter 11 from Trudy Takes Charge, Dark Days. So I used that for the beginning of our first signature here. And again, caterpillars. Some journaling cards. Hold on, I'm going to bend that if I try and close it. There we go. Another little journaling card. More black ribbon. Some pages that can be used for collaging for the next owner as they work through their new journal. This is actually Queen Victoria at Albert's tomb. This is a vintage sympathy card. I always slit the top so that it gives you extra journaling space. I love this detail. It almost feels like Victorian mourning jewelry, if you've ever seen that. The Victorians even had special jewelry that you wore when you were in mourning. Little notepad for journaling on. Come on, you. Thank you. Some more little journaling cards. Little tuck spot here and journaling space. This is a playing card that I've turned into more room to journal on. This is a hymn from a hymn book. Some more black lace, black rickrack. This is the spine from the paper protective cover that was originally on this book. This is the last page of the first signature, and I added a journaling card. I imagine Trudy is at the point in her grieving where she's starting to feel like, I'm ready to start doing something. Eventually we all get to that point, no matter what it is we're grieving, what or who. Second signature, here's some Edith Holden paper. I've made a little tuck spot here. You can see the caterpillar stage is changing. This is a slide of a piece of artwork by Johannes Vermeer. It's called Woman Holding a Balance, and I thought that was kind of appropriate for Trudy taking charge. More journaling space. Eggs, because eggs symbolize new beginnings. A little tuck spot with a little flower shop card. Here's a young lady at a bookshelf deciding to learn and grow and make some changes in their life. More journaling space. This is a page out of a midwifery book that I have. And I thought labor was an appropriate page to use because pulling yourself up and out of grief and working through it certainly is labor. So, a pelvis. Coffee stained paper. The next pages, after I turn this page, are actually pencil life drawings of a woman model. So I have put doilies over top of the any places that YouTube might not appreciate me posting, but they can be removed by the new owner. It's beautiful artwork. I believe it's art, but I didn't want to take any chances in case YouTube didn't like it. So here we go. I think it's beautiful. For me, it represents really getting yourself down to bare bones, to what you are, doing that internal excavation when you're working through grief and wanting to get out to the other side. So I put this page in purposefully for a reason. I also put this in for a reason. It's a vintage card for recovery, because it's work, and I think that this was recovery's near. Of course, we don't always recover from grief. You get through it, but you don't get over it. But it's still important to get through it, or at least it sure helps. I've learned from my experience. I'm not here to preach. I'm just sharing times in my life. More coffee stained paper. You'll notice little changes happening with our little caterpillar friend. Picture of women at work. On the labor page. I put that in for a reason. Because, like I said, it's work, it's labor to get through grief. Back to work with the hammer. A little tuck spot here. I liked that. This is from an old newspaper. Of interest to women. I guess this could be for anyone, but it happens to be. The title has a woman on it. So here's a little tuck spot from an old negatives envelope. And this is vintage wrapping paper that I fussy cut. And I think anyone who's trying their best to work through what they're going through deserves some congratulations. Some more journaling space that I created by putting paper over top of the print, and here as well. This is the other side of the Edith Holden, and I found a way to be able to include the whole page because it's beautiful. It's a poem by Bliss Carman, and the poem itself actually lends itself to the theme of this book. I've also included money sure doesn't hurt when you're grieving. Doesn't hurt any time, but sometimes when you're not working as hard as you can, things add up, and sometimes I know I've had times in my life where people have come to help. And this is the tarot card, the Ten of Cups, and when it's upright, it represents love, alignment, and harmony. So I included that. That's an old vintage one. I found a whole deck of it once. On one of my thrifting jaunts, and I thought, oh yes, I can use that. You're going to see, this is the final page of the second signature. The lace is starting to change color. Here's the back page. She's ready, Trudy is ready to leave grief. So bon voyage. Here's your ticket out of there. Another little stamping on the back, a ticket. So I made a pocket out of a paint swatch, and butterflies are going to start showing up. Signature number 3 is made with a file folder. This is from the book, Trudy Takes Charge. This is from the paper protective cover that was on it originally, and that Trudy is definitely looking determined now. So here we go, advance to go. A few little details. This is a little packet, a little strip of post-it notes, and it's a woman diving in. So some journaling space here. Back to school. That's all educating ourselves so that we can move on. More journaling space, more pages from out of the actual book, more changes in lace color. I included a page of birds. I thought falcons were steely-eyed hunters, so I included falcons. And you'll see on the other side that it worked out well because I like what's on the other side as well. Another journaling card. This is also from the protective paper cover. I made a tuck spot with that. And here's a journaling card. Put a typewriter on it because to me a typewriter in the typing pool for a certain era of women represented getting out of what society wanted them to be, stuck in the home, or not that you're stuck. I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years, but the typewriter represented independence. I guess that's the word I'm looking for many, many women, for a generation of women. This I like. It's from the back of a pattern envelope, and it says here standard body measurements, and I imagine Trudy saying, those are not standard. There's no rules to what's standard. This is a page from a child's spelling book. I forget what grade now. Oh dear. Anyhow, a Canadian spelling book. The other side, I liked it as well. I thought it was appropriate. It's an eagle going back to her nest. The mother eagle. Butterflies showing up. Changes in lace color. Evolving out of the darkness of the grief. Here's a list of the words from the spelling book. And I used a pencil and I took a little liberty and imagined myself as Trudy, underlining and checking the words that were uplifting to her and maybe crossing out the words that were not helpful or that she's overcome. They're in pencil, so if the new owner of this journal decides they want to circle or underline their own uplifting words, that's doable. Another journaling spot, notes, little peekaboo punch out, owls, the other side of that bird page because of their wisdom. More journaling space. This is bullet journal paper, butterfly stamp, ledger paper, more butterflies, new neighbors. The butterflies have come. I love this lace. It actually is doubled lace. It came like that. And I only got a tiny, teeny little bit of it, so it went there. Handmade paper with actual leaves and natural things inside it. I made a little tuck spot here that looks like that's from a tag. And I thought she looked very savvy and very ready to tackle things. And I imagine it's like Trudy. She's worked through her grief and she's ready to start dealing with life again. This is actually the chapter out of the book, The Lost is Found. I've included a few little journaling spaces, some papers. This is interesting, and I'm going to flip the page and then I'll explain why this is also in the book. On the back page, I wanted to include some modern, smart, savvy, confident-looking young ladies. I imagined it's Trudy, it's some new friends that she's made, or family members, or supportive peers. Again, work with me here, it's metaphor. This is from a pattern, a simplicity pattern. And when I opened up the pattern envelope to fussy cut all this, the original receipt was still in it from a little shop in Port Hope, and it was 77 cents. Whoever purchased it back in the day. There's no date on it, so I don't know when that was. I like this little thing. I often do this, make a little tag out of measuring tape, but I really like the coincidence, and it truly was, where it says butterfly here. So that was a little serendipitous thing. I made a pocket on the back here with butterflies to represent the evolution from the dark the dark beginning of the grief to the color and the freedom. And I included a little quote from Trina Paulus, and it says, "How does one become a butterfly?" she asked. "You must want to fly so much that you are willing to give up being a caterpillar." So I also made that into a journaling card, and I included Trina's name on it. So I thought that would be a nice thing to be able to put anywhere you want in the book, but it's back there for now. And of course, as ever, one of my bookmarks with my mom and my grandmother on it. You can put that wherever you like, but I love tucking them in. So that is Trudy Takes Charge. As you can see, when I hold it here on this angle, the evolution of the colors. The stages of grief, the stages of acceptance, and sometimes you wander back into the anger and through, and then there's the colorful stage when you can work yourself through it. So that's it. This is Trudy Takes Charge. It should be in my Etsy shop within the next day or two. And that's for sure. I don't know for sure when, but within the next day or two, this will show up. And if you're interested, please feel free to go over and visit there. I'm still working on figuring out the shipping in Etsy. I will ship this to the United States. So if you're watching this and you can't find it in my Etsy shop and you are interested in it, please feel free to message me, because I will deal outside of Etsy if I need to, because I will ship to the United States. I'm not ready to start shipping elsewhere until I do a little bit more research for other international countries. But the United States, Canada, absolutely, I would be happy to ship Trudy or any of my other books in my shop anywhere in North America. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for bearing with me. This was a long one, and my phone is working, so it didn't cut me off at 5 minutes. Yay! I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thanks for visiting. Bye.